It's Western Eyre Netball time on the Flow Friday night sports show. It's Clayton with you to guide us through. No Rehanna Freeman this week, unfortunately, but Rehanna will be back on deck, all going well, joining us next week to go through the results and to preview next week's games with Western Eyre Netball. It is round number 11 time this weekend. There were no games last weekend, but it's round number 11 this week, and counting them down before we get into finals too. It's creeping up, only 5-6 weeks away. Having a look, I'll start with the Junior Cs, and just having a quick look at the ladder. Firstly, the Western United Tigers on top with 18 points, then Canibba on 12, Ceduna Blues 7, Thevenard 5, and the West Coast Hawks yet to win a game this season. And this week, in this round for round 11, Thevenard have the bye. West Coast Hawks are taking on the Blues at Streaky Bay on Court 2. That'll be at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And the Western United Tigers play Canibba at Penong, and that'll be on Court 2 at 10 a.m. On to Junior B, and as we have a look at the ladder, firstly, the Western United Tigers are on top with 20 points, doing very well. Then Thevenard on 12, West Coast Hawks on 10, tied with the Blues, the Ceduna Blues, only percentage separating these two sides. Then Canibba knocking on the door at 8 points in 5th spot, and Wirrala yet to win a game this season in the Junior Bs. On to their round of games this week, and that'll be starting at 11:30 a.m. West Coast Hawks take on the Blues at Streaky Bay on Court 1. Western United and Canibba, the Western United Tigers will be playing Canibba at Penong on Court 1, and Wirrala hosting Thevenard at Wirrala on Court 1 at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. On to the Junior A's, sitting on top of the ladder as we look at that. Firstly, the West Coast Hawks with 16 points, narrowly ahead on percentage to the Western United Tigers, also on 16 points. Wirrala in 3rd spot on 14, then the Blues on 5. They're also ahead on percentage with Thevenard on 5 points and Canibba with 4. Very tight on that ladder as we get into this week's games. And at West Coast Hawks, we'll be taking on the Blues. Streaky Bay on Court 1. That's at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. The Western United Tigers take on Canibba at Penong on 10 o'clock on the Court 1. And Wirrala hosting Thevenard at the Far West Aboriginal Sporting Complex on Court 1. And that's at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. On to now the D grade, the women's D grade. Looking at the ladder, firstly, the Western United Tigers on 16 points, a long way back to the West Coast Hawks on 8, then Thevenard on 6, the Blues on 6 as well, only separated by percentage, and Wirrala on 4 points. This week's round of matches, the West Coast Hawks take on the Blues at Streaky Bay. They're at Court 2, that'll be at 2:45 p.m, and Wirrala hosting Thevenard at 2:45 p.m. at Wirrala on Court 2, and the Western United Tigers, they have the bye. To the women's C grade in the ladder, the West Coast Hawks on top with 16 points. Western United Tigers on 15, just behind them and ahead on percentage to the Blues, the Ceduna Blues on 15. Thevenard with 10 points, and at the bottom, both on 2 points, only separated by percentage, Canibba in 5th spot and Wirrala in 6th spot. On to this week's round 11 matches, and the West Coast Hawks play the Blues. That'll be at Streaky Bay Court 2 at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Western United and Canibba, Penong Court 2 at 1 o'clock, and Wirrala v Thevenard at Wirrala Court 2 at 1 o'clock tomorrow. On to the B-grade women of the Western Eyre Netball Association. The ladder again, firstly, Thevenard on top with 18 points. In 2nd spot, West Coast Hawks ahead on percentage to the Blues on 14. Wirrala sitting on 4th spot with 8 points, and then Western United in 5th spot on 4 points, and Canibba at the bottom on 2. Round 11 matches, we've got West Coast Hawks and the Blues. That's Streaky Bay Court 1, and that'll be at 2:45 p.m. Western United Canibba playing each other at Penong on Court 1 at 2:45 p.m, and then Wirrala hosting Thevenard, and that'll be at Court 1 at 2:45 p.m. And finally, to the A grade for the Western Eyre Netball Association for their Winter 2022 program, having a look at the all-important ladder situation. Thevenard on top. They've got a game and a half clear of West Coast Hawks. They've got 15 points of West Coast Hawks on 12. The Blues, the Junior Blues on 7 points. Wirrala with 6 points, and Western United Tigers yet to open their account for this season. As we have a look at this weekend's matches, of course, we know West Coast Hawks hosting the Ceduna Blues. That'll be at Streaky Bay Court 1, and that'll be at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Wirrala playing Thevenard at Wirrala on Court 1 at 1 o'clock, and Western United Tigers have the bye. Who's going to win? Well, I think the West Coast Hawks will be too strong for the Blues, and I think they will be struggling against Thevenard. Hopefully, Rehanna, I got that right. I think they would have been your selections, but we'll find out as we bring you Western Air Netball coming up next week on the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. Good luck to all the girls and all the ladies playing tomorrow. Have yourselves a wonderful game too, and good luck to everyone playing, whether you win or lose. Just support your team and just enjoy the day as well. Still more to come on the Flow Friday Night Sports Show. During this, our first hour, we'll be looking at the Barossa Netball League shortly with the Flow Man, and then some Mallee Netball with Nicole McMahon on the way, along with KNT Netty with Sally Bywater.